It was the annual class reunion, and I needed to make a good impression in front of my ex-girlfriend, Chloe Miller. So, I splurged a whole $30 to rent a girlfriend online to bring along. The profile promised fair skin, stunning looks, long legs, someone who could be cute, sweet, or sassy. Full of anticipation, I waited by the hotel entrance. Then, a Maserati pulled up. Next second, a leg that seemed longer than my lifespan emerged from the driver's seat. A cool, somewhat familiar voice asked, "Are you the one who rented a contract girlfriend?" I looked up. Holy crap, wasn't that my merciless she-devil boss, Victoria Ashworth? Recognizing her, I instinctively took a step back and straightened my posture. Ms. Ashworth, don't tell me you're the wild rose from the site, the one who's cute, sweet, or sassy. That screen name was what hooked me. I figured anyone with a name like that had to be beautiful. I wasn't wrong, she was definitely a stunner. Just excessively stunning. She took off her sunglasses haughtily, giving me a dismissive glance. "What? Are you dissatisfied?" Dissatisfied? How could I dare be? Even with 10 times the courage, I wouldn't dare shake my head. I could only nod frantically. Of course, not renting a girlfriend as heavenly as CEO Ashworth is the luck of 8 lifetimes. How could I possibly be dissatisfied? Mentally, I was cursing up a storm, but my face wore an unwavering grin. When it came to sucking up to the boss, if I ranked second, no one dared claim first. Victoria Ashworth gave a satisfied, cold humph and said no more. To prevent online fraud, that platform verified all employer information. Everything from ID numbers down to height and weight was real. Aside from the heavily edited profile picture, it was all legit. So Victoria knew from the start that I was the one hiring her. My face instantly burned. Renting a girlfriend to save face only to end up renting my own boss? How is that different from sunbathing naked? Just as I was debating whether to cancel the order, Victoria strode into the hotel lobby. "Hurry up! We're going to be late." So unprofessional. "Is this how you treat an employer?" I gritted my teeth resentfully, then scurried after her. "Ms. Ashworth, please slow down. Watch the steps. Here, let me carry your bag." This damned corporate drone conditioning forced me to submit beneath her high heels. This reunion was for our senior year high school classmates. My ex-girlfriend, Chloe, was the girl I had a crush on for all 3 years of high school. After a year of long-distance dating, she dumped me early in our sophomore year of university, just because she claimed I couldn't afford to buy her a Hermes bag. Renting a girlfriend this time was specifically to put on a show for. The second Victoria and I entered the private room, Chloe's eyes scanned over. "Long time no see, Sincere Sterling." "And this is?" I hesitated, wondering if I should give Victoria a fake name, but she stepped forward from behind me and introduced herself. "Hello, everyone. I'm Sincere's girlfriend, Victoria Ashworth." Chloe looked skeptical and joked, "And no way. What do you see in him?" I glanced back at Victoria, clad head to toe in custom designer brands. Any single item she wore cost more than my salary for half a year. Standing next to her, I definitely looked out of place, but she just smiled. "Auntie's great." When Victoria said those 2 words, "Auntie's great," slowly yet with such weight and seriousness, my heart skipped a beat, and my face flushed red all the way to my ears. Having been together before, Chloe quickly noticed my unusual reaction. She sneered, looking us both up and down, then said sarcastically, "Oh, a broke loser like you, with no car and no house. What girl would be blind enough to fall for you? Sis girlfriend of yours. You probably paid for her, right?" Wow, she guessed right. I subconsciously clenched my fists, thinking, worst case scenario, I'll just burn it all down. Unexpectedly, Victoria calmly put down her chopsticks, took my hand, and gently intertwined our fingers. The whole table stared, stunned, including me, of course. "What?" Victoria raised an eyebrow. "Do I look like someone people can afford to hire? Draped in high-end designer clothes?" She certainly didn't look like someone I could afford, but the truth was, It only cost me 30%. Oh wait, after the first-time user discount, the actual payment was only 28. Suppressing goosebumps all over, I forced a laugh to smooth things over. Seta ha ha, we're all single here. Let's not rub it in with public displays of affection. It's not cool. Who could understand this? Holding hands with your top boss, it's enough to give you a heart attack. Thanks to Victoria's superb acting, no one doubted me anymore. Even Chloe kept stealing glances at me, trying to subtly inquire about my current financial status, which I vaguely brushed off each time. Class reunions are basically just big comparison contests. While everyone else was showing off their city apartments and newly bought cars, Victoria slapped her Maserati key fob down on the table in front of me with a clack. The car you asked me to take in for service? Just got it back today. Tank's full. Silence fell instantly. Chloe in particular stared at me with eyes gleaming, making my skin crawl. I swallowed hard. This act was definitely over the top, but damn, it felt good. Truly worthy of the she-devil boss, quiet usually, but stunning when she makes a move. With Victoria's divine intervention, my back straightened bit by bit amidst the chorus of compliments. After the gathering ended, I said goodbye to my classmates and forced myself into Victoria's car. And Ms. Ashworth, thank you so much for today. If it weren't for you, I don't know how badly they would have torn me down. Victoria drove quietly, acknowledging me with a non-committal The atmosphere in the car instantly froze. I didn't dare strike up another conversation, awkwardly shutting my mouth, planning to ask her to drop me off at some random intersection soon. Seeing my boss during work hours was stressful enough. I didn't want the pressure after hours too. Renting a fake girlfriend for a class reunion just to see your ex. Do you care about her that much? Her sudden question caught me off guard. Huh? What did she mean? Did she misunderstand something? I quickly explained, of course not. A good man doesn't go back to an old flame. There's nothing to care about. I was just trying to protect my pitifully small amount of dignity, but I didn't dare say that. A rare smile touched Victoria's lips. She seemed satisfied with my answer. I breathed a small sigh of relief, feeling a bit bolder. Miss Ashworth, are you perhaps facing some difficulties recently? The implication being, only someone bored out of their mind would take up jobs like being a rental girlfriend, right? Victoria gave me a cool glance. Short on cash. Me? Short on cash? Yes, short on cash. So there's a long-term rental task coming up. You should continue renting me. Me? In the end, under the coercion and enticement of the capitalist, I tearfully renewed the she-devil boss's rental on the platform for another month. $450, half a month's salary gone in the blink of an eye. As payback, Victoria promised to approve my expense report that had been stuck for nearly a month. The Maserati sped along. By the time I got out, I was drenched in cold sweat. That feeling of having your bank account emptied chills you more than a draft. After showering, my phone chimed a notification that my expense report on DingTalk had been approved. Then came a threatening message from Victoria. If a second person finds out about this, you'll face the consequences. The CEO of a respectable company moonlighting as an online rental girlfriend. It certainly wouldn't sound good if it got out. It was just my bad luck to rent this particular she-devil. Oh heavens, doesn't time take everything away? Couldn't it just take away my poverty first so I wouldn't have to endure such exploitation? Damn capitalists wiping my hair with a towel. I gritted my teeth and replied. I intended to type okay, boss. But my cursed T9 input seemed to have a sudden glitch. The perfectly fine "okay, boss" turned into "tay, honey." I jumped in fright and quickly hit retract. Then I retyped, typo just now. I meant to say "okay, boss." Hit send, and looked closely. Oh dear Lord, the stupid input messed up again. The sentence now read, typo just now. I meant to sleep with you, honey. My vision went black. I frantically fumbled to retract it again, but accidentally hit delete instead. My suspended heart finally died. To survive a few more days, I gritted my teeth and sent a long string of emojis, trying to bury the evidence. If the she-devil asked, I'd just say I fell asleep and accidentally hit the wrong keys. Yes, that's right, that's the explanation. She must have been annoyed by my emoji barrage because a call came through immediately. Do you realize what kind of behavior it is to harass your female boss with messages late at night? I was on the verge of tears, needing another round of serious butt-kissing to smooth the she-devil's ruffled feathers. The matter was finally brutally settled with a 0.2% deduction from my performance score. Damn capitalists, always finding ways to squeeze and exploit basic laborers like me. The next day at the company, the department announced the work assignments for the new quarter. Victoria directly threw the most important project plan at me, making the department manager, Mr. Harrison, stumble in shock. This won't do. CEO Ashworth's sincere Sterling has never handled a project alone. How can he suddenly take on such a big task? One I need should be given to Ethan. Victoria coolly raised her eyes, her brow slightly furrowed. Are you telling me how to do my job? Mr. Harrison immediately shut up, not daring to say another word. Ethan Yang in the department was his nephew. Whenever there was a big project, a manager would overtly or covertly assign it to Ethan, leaving me to just assist. Victoria's move was, in a way, getting back at him for me. I secretly wondered, why was this she-devil suddenly being so kind? Was it so I could earn money and rent her for a few more months? Regardless, as soon as the project task landed in my hands, I dove headfirst into work, developing plans and proposals day and night. Finally, a week later, I successfully secured the contract for the project. Along with the project bonus, Victoria also promoted me to assistant manager, skipping the usual steps. This sudden surprise came completely out of the blue. Gossip started swirling around the office, and soon rumors about Victoria and me began to spread. Some said I had hooked up with CEO Ashworth long ago and used connections to get the promotion. Others claimed my recent panda eyes were from being completely drained by her and that I'd soon be discarded. It annoyed me so much I went to the bathroom and stared at myself in the mirror for ages. If I had known that pulling several all-nighters for the proposal would make me look this haggard, I would have cherished my life and avoided overtime. Then I wouldn't be insulted by these rumors. But no matter what the rumors said, Victoria never offered a single word of explanation. Since she didn't explain, I certainly couldn't protest my innocence too much, so I just plugged my nose and pretended I heard nothing. The following days were uneventful. Aside from my ex-girlfriend Chloe constantly harassing me with calls and texts, Victoria and I had minimal interaction. The company hired some new interns. A recent graduate named Tina Bell was particularly cheerful and followed me around constantly. Even Tanya Tang from the finance department often sent flirtatious glances my way, expressing interest. After being single for so many years based purely on skill, suddenly I had two admirers. Just when I thought I was about to truly escape singledom, Victoria issued a personnel transfer order, moving both intern Tina and finance's Tanya to headquarters. She brutally cut off my budding chance at a beautiful relationship. I sulked for 2 days, then called up a group of friends for drinks. My bros, each a seasoned veteran of the dating scene, immediately pinpointed the issue. "Bro, did a donkey kick you in the head?" Mike asked. "It's obvious your boss likes you. How can you not see that?" I was stunned. Victoria liked me? Impossible, I instinctively denied. I'm just a poor working stiff. How could she possibly like me? Mike kicked me lightly in frustration, laying out his analysis. She's a company CEO. Do you really think she'd do online gig work because she needs money? And she definitely did it because of you. Moving those 2 female colleagues away from you might seem like it's aimed at you, but it's probably because she was jealous. You're too close to see it clearly, bro. An outsider sees the whole picture. It took me a while to digest those few sentences, a faint glimmer of joy rising in my heart. But if she really liked me, why hadn't she ever said anything? I actually knew Victoria back in my sophomore year of university. She was a year below me. As an outstanding student representative, she performed on stage. Her rendition of Cindy Wang's and curved eyelashes drove countless guys wild, including me, naturally. Later, I heard she was a wealthy heiress beautiful, with a great family background, a true goddess-level figure with countless high-quality suitors. So, I suppressed the budding feelings. I never expected that a job opportunity years after graduation would accidentally make me Victoria's subordinate. Now she was the high and mighty CEO, and I was just a poor guy struggling daily to save for a car and house. Yet the girlfriend rental incident brought us together again, especially at this moment, knowing she might actually like me. That crush from my youth irrepressibly took root and sprouted once more. I think I was falling for her. Carelessly, I had a few too many drinks. Once the alcohol hit, I stumbled alone to Victoria's front door and started banging on it. Clonk, clonk, clonk. Instead of sleeping late at night, you come harass your boss. Sincere Sterling, you've grown some balls, haven't you? Victoria opened the door, leaning lazily against the frame, watching me. She wore a satin silk pajama set, her every move exuding a seductive, relaxed charm. Fueled by alcohol, I found some inexplicable courage, burst in, and pushed her onto the sofa. Yeah, I came looking for you. So what? Tell me, that intern Tina and Tanya from finance, did you deliberately transfer them? Caught off guard by my push, Victoria let her pajama top slip off one shoulder, revealing smooth skin. Hearing my question, her tone turned displeased. Yes, I transferred them. You have a problem with that? Of course I have a problem. I stumbled, nearly falling off the sofa. She reached out to steady me. The next second, I was looking down at her. Our eyes met, and the darkness and emotion in her gaze could no longer be hidden. Victoria, people have mouths to speak. I reached out and gently pinched her lips. They felt soft, looked sweet. She froze for a second. So, I stared intently into her eyes. So, is it that hard to admit you like me? Victoria didn't speak, just kept looking straight at me. The air around us suddenly heated up, our breaths slowly intertwining. Just as I was about to lean in for a kiss, my head spun violently. My neck gave way, and I passed out. Before losing consciousness, I didn't hear Victoria's answer. As for how I know all this, it's because even drunk, I don't forget things. Waking up, I looked awkwardly and fearfully at the woman calmly making sandwiches in the kitchen. I'm sorry, Miss Ashworth, I drank too much last night. Victoria glanced up at me, her expression unchanged. It's fine. She acted as if nothing had happened, still calm and composed. It's important to know your place. She clearly avoided the question, so I shouldn't dwell on vague speculations. I didn't eat the sandwich on the table. I opened the door and fled. A real man knows when to bend and when to stand tall. A thick skin is just a thick skin. Having figured that out, I threw all my energy into work. Coincidentally, the company was busy with several large projects. As a newly promoted assistant manager, I was genuinely swamped. Being busy helped push the awkwardness of that night to the back of my mind. Even during occasional work handovers and reports with Victoria, she never mentioned it. It was as if nothing had happened, except for my clueless teasing friend Mike. Bro, is there really no hope between you and your CEO? When I received this consoling message, I was pulling an all-nighter on a new proposal. My reply inevitably carried some bite, absolutely none. If you mention her again, I'll curse you to be single forever. He quickly replied, oh hey, don't be so bitter. Do you like older, sophisticated women? I can introduce you to one. I wasn't interested, but replied perfunctorily, where'd you find one? Mike replied, I just got released from prison. Me. Oh heavens, what sins did I commit in a past life to deserve a friend like this tormenting me? On the day of the Mid-Autumn Festival, the entire company had the day off. I prepared gifts early and went back to my hometown to celebrate with my parents, only to be cornered by my gossipy Aunt Martha. "Sincere, you've been working in the city for so many years. How come you still haven't bought a house? Your cousin Daniel already owns several properties." I chuckled dryly. "Yeah, 360 trades. Every trade breaks the bank, just not the kind of bank that buys a house." My aunt's face stiffened, and she shot me a glare, saying no more. Stories of my cousin Daniel failing spectacularly at every business venture had reached me from home, yet she still brought him up to show off. What was there to brag about? But then Aunt Martha changed tactics, bringing her 2 grandsons over to flaunt them right under my nose. Making more or less money doesn't matter. Look, your cousin's 2 kids are already in elementary school, and you don't even have a girlfriend in sight. Tisk, tisk, tisk. Who was it that said they'd definitely bring a girlfriend home this new year? I couldn't argue, wishing the ground would swallow me whole. Just as Aunt Martha continued her triumphant display of her 2 grandsons, there was a knock at the door. The door opened, and Victoria and I locked eyes. "Ms. Ashworth, what are you doing here?" I was completely stunned, stammering. If I remembered correctly, I never put my parents' address on my company personal information form. "Who is it?" Aunt Martha peered over. Seeing Victoria, she paused too. Before I could figure out how to introduce her, Victoria stepped inside, handed over the gift bag she was carrying, then very naturally linked her arm with mine, intertwining our fingers. She introduced herself. "Hello, I'm Sincere Sterling's girlfriend. My name is Victoria Ashworth." Well, damn. This she-devil was way too dedicated. She'd shown up voluntarily to work overtime. My parents had sharp ears. Busy in the kitchen, they heard her and rushed out.
"And oh my boy, you got a girlfriend and didn't even tell us. If I'd known this dear daughter was coming today, I would have prepared more dishes." My mom, Helen,
pulled Victoria into the living room, grinning from ear to ear. My dad, David, stood beside them, beaming. Aunt Martha, who had just been lecturing me about being single, was now slapped hard in the face by reality, her expression turning awkwardly pale. Watching Victoria sitting on the sofa, looking like a perfectly behaved young lady, my heart pounded uncontrollably for the first time. The palm she had held tightly seemed to retain the faint, lingering scent of her fingertips, scorching hot. It must be a side effect of being single for so long. Otherwise, how could a simple touch make my heart race like this? Before dinner, my mom started bossing me around. "This girl is really nice. You've done well, son, finding such an outstanding girlfriend. You better hold on to her tight. And your name is Victoria, right? The name sounds a lot like that female boss you always mention." She continued muttering as she set the table. "It's all right. Didn't you say your she-devil boss exploits you every day? You can't be too timid. You need to learn to fight back appropriately." I flinched, quickly covering my mom's mouth, instinctively glancing back at Victoria on the sofa. The moment our eyes met, my mind went blank. It's over. Barbecued. Who knows how this she-devil will torture and retaliate against me later. Fortunately, Aunt Martha quickly diverted Victoria's attention, bombarding her with questions. Honestly, seeing my Aunt Martha's expression, I was afraid Victoria might leap up and sidekick her into the Arctic Ocean. But Victoria showed rare patience, answering each question. After lunch, my mom pulled Victoria aside for more chatting. I never expected the usually stern and domineering CEO to be as meek as a lamb in front of my mother. My mom adored her, and promptly gave her a thick red envelope full of cash. "Little Vicky dear, this is your first visit. A little something from Auntie. 1,500, and 1 in 1,500. Auntie hopes you two will last forever, and that you'll marry into our Sterling family soon." Afraid my mom would get too worked up, I quickly made an excuse about needing to run an errand and dragged Victoria out the door. Victoria seemed quite fond of the red envelope, clutching it tightly. I felt exasperated. So her enthusiasm for showing up and performing her duties was all for the red envelope, though the expensive gifts like Mau Tai liquor, Abalone and ginseng she brought probably cost way more than $1,500. All things considered, I wasn't losing out. Besides, she did me a huge favor on a holiday. I had to thank her properly. Miss Ashworth, to express my gratitude, let me treat you to dinner tonight. I heard there's a hot pot place with great reviews. She gave me a deep look and nodded. Okay. Truthfully, I had no idea if the place was any good. It was just that their $29.99 combo deal was friendlier to my wallet. Because it was a promotional combo, the broth base was fixed spicy. When the hot pot, brimming with red chilies, arrived at the table, I shuddered. I felt constipated just looking at it. Victoria, however, seemed unfazed. Looks like my friend was right about girls loving spicy food. We had barely taken a couple of bites when we ran into Mr. Evans, the business department manager from our company. CEO Ashworth, what a coincidence you're eating here too. He glanced at the bubbling pot on our table, utterly shocked. Butter broth? CEO Ashworth, aren't you allergic to chili peppers? You can't eat spicy food. And maybe you should switch tables? I can order a different broth for you. Victoria shot him a look, and he quickly swallowed the rest of his words, mumbling an excuse before scurrying away. My hand holding chopsticks froze awkwardly in midair. And Ashworth, why didn't you tell me you can't eat spicy food? Said if I'd known, I would have chosen a different restaurant. Another barbecue place had a couple's combo for only $19.99, much cheaper than Hot Pot. I immediately pulled out my phone, ready to be generous for once, considering the huge favor she did me, and find a new place. But Victoria stopped me. Don't bother with those group deals. Come with me. Ultimately, she took me to her place. Facing a refrigerator full of ingredients, I was a bit confused. Well, don't expect me to cook, do you? The job application didn't mention culinary skills. Victoria rolled her eyes at me, taking an apron off its hook and tying it on. Wouldn't dare rely on you. I'm afraid I'd starve. I pouted but didn't dare retort. Knowing this she-devil for years, her words always managed to choke me up. Wearing a cartoon print nightdress, Victoria showed a rare gentleness, a completely different person from her usual self. I had to admit, this woman looking like this was cute with an inexplicable touch of sexiness. Her long, fair legs swayed back and forth before my eyes, dazzling me. What are you doing? Come over here and help. Only when a sharp reprimand came from above did I snap back to reality, feeling utterly embarrassed and awkward. I had been leering at Victoria's legs. Victoria nonchalantly dropped a comment. What's there to look at? All bark and no bite. Me. Well said. Please don't say it again. Life felt utterly hopeless. But Victoria's cooking skills were undeniable. The food looked, smelled, and tasted amazing. I accidentally ate until I was stuffed. Yet the flavors felt oddly familiar, as if I had tasted them somewhere before. I thought after dinner Victoria might let me stay a while, maybe have tea, chat, perhaps something might even happen. But the moment the dishes were cleared, she started ushering me out. You're not asking me to stay a bit longer? Victoria's tone was flat. No. I secretly glanced up at her, seeing her exquisite features calm, devoid of any emotion. Right. Maybe she was just habitually dedicated to her duty, doing the job because she was paid. That's why she played the role of girlfriend so perfectly today. Why should I secretly take it seriously? Sighing softly, my heart felt desolate. I ended up going home alone, but after this incident, the relationship between Victoria and me seemed to undergo a subtle shift. For instance, when I mustered the courage to ask her out to dinner again, she agreed instantly. This time, I learned my lesson. I did my research and chose a Western restaurant with a nice ambiance and good food. But not long after we sat down, we encountered my appetite-ruining ex-girlfriend, Chloe. A few days ago, annoyed by her constant pestering, I had blocked all her contact methods. Running into her here was just bad luck. Ajay, what a coincidence. Note, using Sincere's nickname Chloe might use. Since fate brought us together, let's eat together. It's been so long since we had dinner at this place. She completely ignored Victoria sitting across from me and sidled uply. I quickly pulled away, but Victoria beat me to the rejection. "Excuse me, he's busy. Please eat by yourself." Victoria's voice was calm, emotionless. Who knew the woman would throw a tantrum on the spot? She grabbed the coffee cup from the table and splashed it all over Victoria. Dark stains instantly bloomed on the white fitted dress. "Who do you think you are? If you hadn't interfered, Ajay and I would definitely be back together by now. I'm his first love. He definitely likes me more." Furious, I pushed her away, shouting publicly for the first time, "Shut up, we broke up a long time ago. Stop being so shameless and clinging to me." "And not a garbage barge, don't dump your trash on me." Adapted from, and a perfectly good dinner ruined. Luckily there was a mall downstairs, so I had to take Victoria down to buy a new dress. Chloe, seemingly provoked by something, shamelessly tagged along, impossible to shake off. "Fine, let her follow. Come in and help me." Victoria's voice drifted out faintly from the changing room. I wanted to refuse, but Chloe stood there, watching intently. I couldn't lose face, not this time. After a 2-second hesitation, I steeled myself and entered the dressing room. The space was already small, and some inconsiderate salesperson had piled stock inside, making the already cramped room even smaller. Any slight movement risked unintentionally brushing against Victoria's skin, smooth like silk. My face was red the entire time. I barely dared to open my eyes, fumbling blindly to fasten the strap on her back. With such little courage, you dare send harassing messages to a girl late at night? A faint, ambiguous smile played on Victoria's lips. Her words were clearly pointed, referring to the text message incident. My face burned fiery hot, so embarrassed my toes curled. I couldn't even manage an explanation and scrambled out of the dressing room. If I stayed in that confined space with Victoria any longer, I'd genuinely suffocate from lack of oxygen. Or worse, lose control and do something wild. The next day at the office, the atmosphere felt different. I knew this feeling well. Some major gossip was brewing. Sure enough, shortly after I sat down at my desk, my colleague Alex scurried over with the latest scoop. Chin GE. Turns out our CEO Ashworth is the daughter of the chairman of Apex Group. Using Alex's way of addressing Sincere from the table, news just broke that she's about to get engaged to Lawrence Liu, the heir of Liu Corporation, a real-life tycoon marriage alliance. My head was completely spinning. I couldn't register anything he said after that. Only the news of her impending engagement echoed in my mind. No wonder she never admitted liking me. Turns out, I wasn't even a consideration for her. Extremely agitated, I hid in the break room for a smoke. Halfway through the cigarette, someone pushed the door open. It was Victoria. "Smoking is bad for your health. You should smoke less." I didn't stop. Taking a deep drag, looking at her through the slowly rising smoke, my tone casual. "Smoking is a personal matter, probably not under the boss's jurisdiction. If anyone should manage it, it's a girlfriend." I stubbed out the cigarette in the ashtray on the table, stood up, and leaned close to her, close enough for our breaths to mingle, as if asking myself, yet also questioning her. "CEO Ashworth, are you managing me now as my boss, or in some other capacity?" My question stunned Victoria. For the first time, she was speechless, blushing and silent. The break room was quiet, so quiet that all senses became hyper-aware, clear enough for me to feel the slight tremble of her eyelashes. Once again, she evaded my question. "That stuff about the Liu Corporation heir, that's real too, isn't it?" The lights weren't on in the break room, only faint light filtered through the gaps in the blinds. Shadows played across her quiet face. She didn't deny it. "So that's the reason you never dared to admit you like me?" A hidden sourness rose in my throat. After an internal struggle, the question finally came out. Victoria's eyes held complex emotions. "It's not what you think." I didn't have the courage to hear more. I stood up, opened the door, and walked out. The moment the door closed, my heart felt instantly hollow. It was laughable, really feeling heartbroken without even being in a relationship. Ultimately, it was just my wishful thinking. In this situation, I honestly didn't have the courage to stay at the company any longer. Thinking back, maybe the subconscious reason I applied to this company in the first place was because of Victoria. I was just slow to realize it. I submitted my resignation via Ding Talk. It was rejected almost the instant I sent it. Furious, I defiantly submitted it again. The next second, Victoria rushed over, dragged me into the pantry. "Sincere Sterling, we need to talk." I struggled slightly but couldn't break free. I didn't dare use force, afraid of hurting her, but my tone remained deliberately firm. "CEO Ashworth, this is the company. Please mind the propriety." Heads were already starting to peek around corners, gossiping. I could only turn sideways, shielding her with my body. Unexpectedly, she suddenly reached up, wrapped her arms around my head, stood on tiptoe, and kissed me. My heart stopped. I instinctively held my breath. In that instant, everyone peeking dropped their jaws, not daring to make a sound. 1 second, 2 seconds, 3. Time seemed to freeze. I don't know when the softness on my lips disappeared. "You." Just as I was about to speak, Victoria covered my mouth, staring into my eyes earnestly. "Sincere Sterling, you were right. People have mouths to speak, and I shouldn't have kept things from you, acting on my own. I shouldn't have been afraid to admit I like you. I can tell you very seriously now, I like you. Ever since I first met you freshman year, I've liked you." "What? Freshman year?" I stood there, utterly dumbfounded, like a wooden chicken. Victoria said she'd been secretly liking me since freshman year? But back then, we had absolutely no interaction. How could she like me? Her eyes sparkled as she looked at me and continued, "Do you remember the girl who used to bring you lunchboxes? During my sophomore year, I jumped into a river to save a drowning stray cat. Later, the girl who had been feeding the strays started bringing me meals frequently as a thank you. Disposable containers, warm food, they were the source of all my happiness for the last 2 years of university. Only that girl never showed her face and refused to tell me her name. I never imagined she was Victoria. Then why didn't you ever tell me?" Understanding the whole story, I couldn't help but give a wry smile. The girl I secretly crushed on back then was also secretly crushing on me? What kind of cliché drama was this? If we had confessed our feelings earlier, my mom's long-held dream of having grandchildren would have been realized long ago. I wouldn't have suffered as a single dog for so many years, and my last French kiss wouldn't have been with a green popsicle this past summer. Victoria's gaze softened, her tone tinged with helplessness. When my dad was forcing me into an arranged marriage, I refused, so 2 years ago I made a bet with him. Since he gave me 3 years to achieve a net profit of $100 million for the branch company. If I completed the task, he would cancel the marriage and support my freedom to date. "So you didn't dare admit you liked me because you were afraid you wouldn't reach the goal?" Victoria nodded, the light in her eyes dimming slightly again. "But we're still nearly 30 million short of the 100 million net profit. In the remaining 5 months, given our branch's current state, it's impossible to achieve. I never dared confess to you because I was afraid of putting you in a difficult position later. I couldn't hold back anymore. I pulled her into my arms, my gaze firm and earnest. Don't worry. We'll overcome this obstacle together. Even if it means going through hell and high water, I will always be by your side." Victoria's eyes instantly reddened. She looked up at me, her eyes full of emotion. Just at this crucial moment, the colleagues who had been eavesdropping all along stepped out in unison, shouting loudly, "CEO Ashworth, don't worry, we'll face this challenge with you too." The air hung still for a few seconds, then erupted in roaring laughter. Through the tireless efforts and countless late nights of the entire branch company, we finally succeeded in reaching the target goal in the last month of the 3-year deadline. My father-in-law, Reginald Ashworth, was a man of his word. He immediately retracted the news of the engagement with whoever it was his family. And I, thanks to my outstanding abilities and handsome appearance, successfully won the favor of my future father-in-law and mother-in-law, Eleanor. Victoria and I finally confirmed our relationship and began living a life free of shame and anxiety. On our wedding night, I suddenly remembered the time I rented a girlfriend online, and somehow ended up renting her. Victoria threw her phone at me, huffing. "You still have the nerve to bring that up? Why on earth did you have to rent a girlfriend online?" It caused me to get harassed by several creepy guys after I registered my account. "And you know how scared I was that someone else would snatch you away?" I burst out laughing. As I laughed, my eyes reddened. "Ah, I know." I gently cupped her face and lowered my lips for a deep kiss. "Don't worry, I'm yours. No one can ever snatch me away."